You can never tell till the last minute what is really going to happen. And that was the story in Haryana today. Election results were declared in the states of Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir, both historic for different reasons. For Jammu and Kashmir, of course, because the first set of elections being held after the abrogation of Article 370, again, a testament to the strength of Indian democracy. The National Conference and the Congress set to form a government there. But Haryana was the biggest highlight. What a comeback by the BJP in Haryana today. The day began with the Congress party ahead in the leads. 1 hour into counting, the Congress was leading in 49 seats while the BJP was leading in 24 seats. And this was pretty much what exit polls had indicated across the board. The Congress brought out the laddus, confident of a victory. But in just 40 minutes, the picture changes. Leads were reversed, with the BJP overtaking the Congress in 43 seats versus 42, led by the Grand Old Party. A short while later, it was apparent that the BJP had consolidated gains. The laddus were now coming out at the BJP headquarters in Chandigarh. A dramatic election, to say the least. On the other hand, Jammu and Kashmir voted the Congress National Conference combine to a comfortable victory. At last count, the NC Congress alliance was leading in 49 seats, while the BJP was leading in 29 seats. The PDP was leading in 3 seats as of 4 p.m. Now, while these elections, of course, are state elections, they were being watched keenly across the board, across the country, across the markets, in every section and segment. So these are the top takeaways. Firstly, successful elections in J&K are a testament to Indian democracy and the strength of Indian democracy. That's very important to remember, because it was not expected. This was a tough election to pull off. It took place in 3 phases. That's the first time in 10 years. And you have a free and fair election which has occurred. The second biggest thing, the Haryana hat-trick has bolstered the impact of Modi magic, and which leads me to point number 3. Concerns on BJP's hold on national politics now recede. Remember, this was why this election was being watched after the Lok Sabha polls. Maharashtra elections now take center stage. Number 5, and I think this is the big one, credibility of exit polls have taken another very, very hard knock. So is it time to really exit the exit polls? This is one of the questions we'll be asking to all of our experts. Sandeep Shastri is joining us today. He's a political analyst. Tejas Mehta, political commentator with us, as is Sajjan Kumar, political analyst. I'm also speaking with Khalid Akhtar, editor at C Voter News Services. Welcome to all of you, and great to have you on NDTV Prophet. Thank you for speaking with us today. Sandeep, let me come to you on, the kind of turnaround we saw. We'll come to the bit about the exit polls in just a minute. But first, what is it telling us that the BJP comes back in Haryana with its strongest tally ever, despite all of the commentary and all of the doubts?
I would say factor number 1 is the rainbow social coalition that they created, and that has won them the election. While the Congress tried a consolidation of the Jat vote, what the BJP did was to bring together all the non-Jat castes and their support. Secondly, I think the BJP did its work on the ground very quietly across the board, whereas the Congress, right through the campaign, was arguing that we are winning this election, that there is a strong sentiment against the...
Okay, I seem to have lost Sandeep there. We'll try and get him back. Tejas Mehta, meanwhile, with us. Tejas, were you surprised at about 9:30 this morning? I think markets were, like everyone else was, really.
I mean, this has been the biggest political shocker in recent memory, where this was an election for the taking for the Congress. And in a sense, I mean, one did get, if one spoke to politicians, one spoke to even, voters in Haryana, one did get a sense that, this was not going to be as easy for the BJP as it was earlier. In fact, the indications were there in the Lok Sabha election itself. And how the Congress has managed this, I mean, the infighting we all know about, the open desire for chief ministership, not senior leaders not talking to each other. And as, your previous speaker was saying, openly, little the hubris had come in that, they are going to win. Jeetna hi hai. Ye to haarne hi wale hai. I think that really got to their head, and very smartly the BJP played it very low key, and they also focused on local issues, unlike the Lok Sabha and other elections where they try and create some national issue every time. But the BJP were in fact very interestingly created local issues, and they spoke on those local issues, whereas the BJP it was the Congress party which was talking on larger issues. And I think that's where they really lost their game. I think it was many reasons. One important other reason I can really think of was changing Mr. Khattar's face, because the anti-incumbency factor does, seep in after 10 years. And here you have a fresh face who is younger, who is taking the responsibility. Also changing 17 sitting MLAs, I think it requires guts, because at the end of the day, these are people who have won elections for you and you are willing to remove them, whereas the Congress really did not do that. So I think many factors, but you are absolutely bang on. A huge shock. I think, the Congress has blundered very badly, because the repercussions on Jharkhand and Maharashtra, we are already seeing the Shiv Sena, UBT, of course, telling their ally that, oh, come on, how could you lose this election, which was almost like a sitting duck?
It's all in hindsight now, Tejas. You talked about how the Congress blundered, but so far it was seeming like the Congress really had its act together, and it was the BJP that was blundering. A lot of these seats have also been won with very tight margins. Do you think there's a bit of the story there as well, in terms of how close the fight actually was at the end of the day? I mean, the numbers are showing, of course, a clean sweep for the BJP, but victory margins have been fairly thin. Vote shares are not too different.
Absolutely. I think 41 to the Congress, and in fact 40 to the BJP if you look at vote shares. But of course they have got more seats, and that really happens. But you are absolutely right. This was not as clear cut as the media had thought. All exit polls really indicated that. And if you talked really to people, I mean, there was a sense of fatigue. One cannot deny that. But I think what has happened in the last several months is that there has been a focus on trying to placate farmers, which was a big issue, the farmer protests. So schemes have been brought in to really placate, farmers and the community, to ensure that, they are once again on this side. The Congress believed that the Dalit consolidation is once again going to happen the same way as it happened in UP, and therefore they were focusing on the Jat factor, which actually turned the other way and went to the votes went to the BJP. So I think various factors have really come in, but I just don't know. I mean, what to say. I think what would have really happened also is that somewhere there has been much better governance than we really want to accept or give credit to the BJP. Because how can one really explain 10 years of rule and then once again going ahead and winning? Yes, there have been blunders by the Congress party. It was very obvious that the leaders were not getting along. There was infighting, and also rebels were being popped up. The Congress was not being able to manage that as well as the BJP. So I think somewhere due credit has to be given to the state government and also to the center. Of course, the chief minister takes all credit. He's the superhero of this election, and of course will become the new chief minister in all likelihood.
Okay. So look at the vote shares coming in. BJP 39.87%. I'm referring to the Election Commission official figures, of course. The Congress at 39.05%. BJP leading with a decimal fraction of a percent in vote shares. So very close to call. Sandeep Shastri also back with us. Sandeep Shastri, is that some solace to pollsters who got it completely wrong? That at the end of the day, you can turn around and say, but look at the vote shares. It was a confusing election to call?
No, I don't think pollsters should clutch at straws and say, we at least got the vote share right. I think pollsters will need to do their homework better next time as to why this happened and what improvements we can make. In a lighter vein, the simple improvement you could do in the exit poll figures was replace BJP with Congress and replace Congress with BJP. You'll have a perfect exit poll numbers. But then more seriously, I think this is a important alarm bell for pollsters that we need to look at our methodologies and to gain public support, I think this all too frequent uh, coming up with a figure which was not what actually finally happened would impact on credibility in the long run.
Khalid Akhtar also with us. Khalid, thank you for joining us. And I'm sure you're getting this question since morning on what has been going wrong. I can imagine. I can imagine, and not to rub it in, but honestly, because it's the third time wrong, and also not to make you answer for all pollsters, because I hate it when people ask me questions for all journalists, so I understand that. But something's going wrong, terribly wrong, isn't it, with the way polls are being conducted?
At the moment, we have 2 assembly elections, and we have gone right in one, we have gone wrong in one. So it is like 50-50%. We have gone exactly right in the Jammu and Kashmir, and we have gone wrong in the projections of seats in the Haryana. But let me tell you about Haryana. While we were giving exit polls, we were saying that there are at least 19 to 26 seats which have a very tough contest. At least 19 seats, it was very tough to take a call which party can win. But like going by the survey science, sometimes what we see is that after the Lok Sabha elections, we were saying that Congress is on upsurge in Haryana, because despite Mr. Modi having an extra dividend of at least 8 to 10% in Lok Sabha polls, BJP had come down from 10 to 5 seats in Haryana. So the public mood seemed to be in the favor of the Congress. So whenever we have this kind of marginal close seats, we go by like the mood of the people, that most likely these seats will swing anti-incumbent at the moment in favor of the party which had seen a public mood in its favor just 3-4 months back. Otherwise, we were also getting, Haryana is a small state with the size of the constituency. 50% of the constituency size is smaller compared to the UP and other states with just electorate of less than 2 lakhs. And even in last elections, almost 19 seats were won and lost by margin of less than 5,000 votes, and almost 9 seats with the margin of less than 2,000 votes. So it's a states which are small in size, which have very narrow margins. So it becomes difficult to do the exact predictions in this kind of a state. And even in these elections of Haryana, we were saying that there are at least 19 to 26 seats which are tough to call, and 19 very tough seats which have a very close contest. But then also we had to give projections. We gave it in that way, and we went wrong this time here in Haryana. Yes.
Yeah, but it's not just Haryana, Khalid. Again, Lok Sabha posters get wrong. December 2023, most posters got wrong. We keep telling parties that lose to introspect. Time for some introspection in the pollster community.
See, there is always a space for the improvement. You can go, you can send more number of people. See, in the survey science, the better the collection of the samples, the more people you meet, the better results are expected. But it's not like that always the posters are going wrong. In like previous few elections, I can say that when everybody was saying that in West Bengal, the BJP will form the government, we were saying that Mamata Banerjee is sitting on the 40% vote share and she will form the government with full majority. In Karnataka, we were the first ones to say that Congress is coming back to power at least 6 months before the elections. Even in UP, when everybody was saying that Akhilesh Yadav will make it this time, we were continuously saying that no, Yogi Adityanath is coming back to power. In Telangana, we said that Congress is coming back with full majority. There are times that we go wrong, and it's like science projections can go wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes you may fail to read the actual mood also.
Yeah, but these are exit polls. Sajjan Kumar, thank you for your patience. Just to come in on that, I'm just going to focus a bit. We'll talk, of course, about the national implications of the state elections, but just on how wrong posters have gone. And this becomes important because that data is tracked. If I look at the example of stock markets, that real life data is taken as an indication to place calls. And then if that goes wrong, well, it goes wrong. Of course, you're taking a risk. But then there seems to be something fundamentally askew.
I have not done polling this time, poll studies. But let me tell you also, in India, one of the problem is that news media channels or even the political parties, they pay peanuts, to most of the pollsters. So mind it, what is the sample collection and the kind of big investments you need compared to, say, Western, say, US election, etc. in India. And that has been a clarion call that election studies is underfunded, at least the ones who are into more sort of an analytical, not in terms of the political party management. Second thing, why they are going wrong, also because mind it, uh, 10, 15 years ago, when you used to go to the field, a voter was not fatigued with the kind of number of field investigator approaching them and asking the same set of questions. Second, due to the social media, they also know how to play along. So therefore, who you call earlier used to call silent voter, who will not soon say, you say you can't yes, no, or can't say. That can't say category in today. People are also, silent voters are also becoming tactical voters. So that is why, take for example, rationally Haryana was analyzed, and all of us until yesterday were thinking that rationally, in terms of leadership image, Congress has the edge because this leader of Huda's stature is not matched from BJP camp. Second, if you see narrative, normative age is Jawan, Pahalwan, Kisan, so farmers issues, Agniveer, rural distress, everything, old pension scheme is on Congress side, and then 10 years of anti-incumbency. So rational choice theory made it feel very logical for everyone that perhaps BJP isn't difficult. But what happened? In every state, when we go, we map primarily the political anti-incumbency. But in Haryana, you see, besides political anti-incumbency, there is another anti-incumbency into the social domain, which is social anti-incumbency against the Jat community. And I think perhaps while there was a sentiment head start in favor of the Congress, but Congress played its Jat card too strongly, leading to a near consolidation and in a silent way, as Professor Sandeep Sastry said. It's a very, very silently, there was because I think it's not only the pollster have gone wrong. Many of us who were in know-how of BJP's intercalculation also, though they were maintaining a strong faith.
Is the BJP surprised? 1 minute. Is the BJP surprised themselves?
Many of the people who were working Haryana, on personal note, their tally was also very underestimated. They were saying that if we can go a bit close. So what I'm saying, we need to study that perhaps in society, there is a generational shift. There is some sort of a tactical response by the voters also. So therefore, most of the, what could you do? You go there, but you cannot read the real intention. And that is why
so
it's not just
one minute. Tactical response means we are essentially saying voters lie. Voters lie, so what can we do about it? Tejas, are you buying this? Are you buying this because this is exit polls, right? So voters are coming out, and I'm going to ask Khalid about the methodology, but is this going to be enough to say that most voters don't tell us what they really think?
Well, I think one point is indeed true that we have so many elections and therefore so many exit polls that it is very likely that, the same people go repeatedly. Same people are asked the questions repeatedly, and therefore that sense of fatigue comes in. Though I have never encountered any of these pollsters. Maybe they don't come to cities as much, but I do agree that it's too underfunded. I'm pretty sure about it because I've worked closely with people who do polling and who go out on the field, and the funding is extremely poor, especially compared to more mature democracies, and therefore it does affect the sampling size, and therefore what the results can be very skewed at times. And very often, of course, there is this bias which comes in, as it was being pointed out, that it logically does seem that the BJP should lose given the many factors that have been with the Congress and against the BJP. It does seem. So I think there are many biases which one does try and remove with direct responses from people, but yes, one cannot. I think it's getting tougher. I think the only way out actually is getting a much bigger sample, and therefore because that way you will have a much more. It will become far more robust. It will be on much larger numbers, because you can never actually achieve the entire. You can't really go and map every constituency completely. So you have to come to a figure which is absolutely okay. One can say this could be the optimum figure where one hits, and therefore one could get.
But I'm sure that's the methodology for the longest time.
They don't have the funding at the moment. How they can't?
No, let me ask Khalid. Let me ask Khalid that question. Because there have been a lot of theories. Okay, we'll try and get Khalid back. His line's gone off. But is it lack of funding? Is it, not enough boots on the ground? Or is it that people just don't tell the truth? Just Sandeep Shastri, coming back to you, and then we'll come to national implications.
I would just beg to differ from one of the earlier perspectives. I don't think the larger number of your sample makes your methodology better. Having been part of the process for 30 years, I think point number one should be transparency. How many of our pollsters openly declare the methodology that they have followed? If I have to trust a poll that has come, I should be 100% sure of the methodology that is there. And secondly, how robust is your method of sampling? Does your sample mirror the larger universe that it wants to represent? And I have come to believe that your methodology is more crucial than the actual numbers you have. And remember, many of us do face-to-face interviews on the ground. It's not a mobile interview. It's not an online interview. It's a face-to-face interview. And how well you build your rapport with the one you are interviewing is critical in order to get them to tell what is the reality on the ground. And for me, these are the three important points that seriously need to be followed, especially the transparency question. How transparent are the polls in laying out the methodology, the sample size, the places that they did their survey? I hardly find this mentioned when surveys are done.
And these are important questions. It's important questions because of how right now any data inputs become very, very crucial. I mean, opinion polls is even a bigger guesstimate. I would say exit polls, maybe you would expect more accuracy because you're actually talking to people about what they've done after they've voted, versus opinion polls, which might have quite a bit of time between their feeling and the decision they make, which was actually casting their vote. Let me come. Yes.
Haryana case, you had no time for actually doing the exit poll. The day of the polling was also the day on which the exit poll was announced. So you had that additional complication in Haryana that the exit poll happened on the evening of the day of voting.
So then methodology becomes a big question. So really, all the health warnings that exit polls come with, I think they deserve it. I just want to come to you, Sandeep, on the national implications of what we've seen. Does this set the stage for Maharashtra, or is Maharashtra now a different ballgame altogether? Because so many permutations and combinations in the state of Maharashtra. Would we be making a mistake to extrapolate what we've seen in Haryana into Maharashtra?
I think one lesson I have learned is the states are increasingly behaving differently. Neighboring states have different political inclinations. So while I would read the Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana result closely, I would be a little cautious in making any extrapolation of these results to Jharkhand and Maharashtra. Let's also remember Jharkhand and Maharashtra will have a competition between coalition groups. Even the BJP, both in Maharashtra and in Jharkhand, is part of a coalition, as is their rival. So the nature and dynamics of coalition politics will operate both in Jharkhand and in Maharashtra. The results today may act as a morale booster to certain parties and provide certain important warnings to parties, but I would not believe that what has happened here would be mirrored in the elections which are coming, because every state election has its own issues, its own dynamics, and its own unique political sensitivities.
Well, that's well put. Its own unique political sensitivities, but with the sort of nationalization of politics and those national themes seeping into state elections, you do see that impact coming in as well. Anyway, a thrilling day of election results. At the end of this, I want to thank all of you for joining us on the show today. But as we wrap up, let's just play out for you some of the commentary coming in from the winners. Haryana Chief Minister Nayab Singh Saini, of course from Manohar Lal Khattar, as well as the Abdullahs in Jammu and Kashmir.
आज का बड़ा दिन है आपके लिए, क्या कहेंगे? एक फैसला होना है पूरा हरियाणा सरकार का, क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
देखिए, आज काउंटिंग है और हमें पूर्ण विश्वास है हरियाणा प्रदेश की जो हमने सेवा ईमानदारी से पिछले 10 वर्षों के अंदर की है, मैं उस आधार के ऊपर कह सकता हूं कि हम तीसरी बार हरियाणा के अंदर एक तरफा सरकार बना रहे हैं। भारतीय जनता पार्टी तीसरी बार सेवा के लिए तैयार है, क्योंकि केंद्र में आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी तीसरी बार प्रधानमंत्री बने हैं और हमने पिछले 10 वर्षों के अंदर आदरणीय मोदी जी के नेतृत्व के अंदर हरियाणा की गति से विकास किया है, समस्याओं का समाधान किया है, ईमानदारी से हमारी सरकार ने किया है और आगे भी हम मजबूती से, ईमानदारी से हरियाणा प्रदेश को आगे बढ़ाने का काम हमारी सरकार का।
लगातार एक झूठ बोलने का, भ्रम फैलाने का काम कर रहे थे। जनता ने कांग्रेस की बात को नकारा, भारतीय जनता पार्टी की बात को उन्होंने सराहा, स्वीकार किया और मैं समझता हूं कि एक जनता ने एक ऐसा संदेश दिया है कि मोदी जी के जो सरकार की नीतियां हैं, मोदी जी की जो उपलब्धियां हैं, जो हमारा काम करने का तरीका है, कार्यपद्धति का, वो जनता के ऊपर असर कर रहा था और जनता ने उसका प्रत्युत्तर में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की हरियाणा में तीसरी बार सरकार बनाई है और ये अपने आप में एक रिकॉर्ड बना है कि हरियाणा में आज तक किसी पार्टी की लगातार तीसरी बार सरकार नहीं बनी थी। पहली बार भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने हरियाणा में लगातार तीसरी बार सरकार बनाई।
बहुत सारी सीटें हैं जो हम जीत चुके हैं और अपडेट नहीं की, जैसे चट्टा साहब है, शैली है, रामगढ़ है, अशोक अरोड़ा है, ऐसे कई सीटें हैं जो हमारे खबर मिली हैं। जैसे आदमपुर में भी हम लीड कर रहे हैं, दर्जे में भी लीड कर रहे हैं, बहुत सारी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी हैं, जैसे वोकल में हम लीड में जा रहे हैं। तो ये अपडेट नहीं हो रहा है डाटा इलेक्शन कमीशन में और कई जगह काउंटिंग की गई है। तो मेरा एक तो सभी जो काउंटिंग एजेंट्स हमसे साथियों से निवेदन है कि आप डटे रहो, मेजोरिटी आ रही है।
बड़गाम में खड़े होके मैं ज़रूर बड़गाम के वोटरों का शुक्रिया करना चाहता हूं, जिन्होंने मुझे अपने कीमती वोटों से नवाजा, मुझे यहां से कामयाब होके भेजा और मुझे जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों की खिदमत करने का दोबारा एक मौका जो है हासिल हुआ है।